What's up, everybody? It's your girl Kiwan, and I am back with Family or Fiance, Season 4, Episode 10. Christina and Lamar, Til Dowry, Dowry, do us part. Okay. Um. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Y'all click the notification bell button so you can be updated on every video that I drop. Y'all make sure we are also liking the videos so I can kind of stay in the algorithm of things. Thank you. Anyway, so let's go ahead and get started, y'all. So apparently Christina and Lamar dated in 2016. They have a daughter. He's not comfortable around her family. Christina was born in America, but her parents are born and raised in Nigeria. Lamar said that he had to assimilate to her culture to make her and her family happy. I was like, oh, okay, this is a thing. All right. So Lamar and Christina actually meet with Tracy. We find out that he was her manager. She came in, he hired her on. At the time he was 27 and Christina was 19. And he said he saw something in her eyes. And it kind of went from there. So Christina parents want Lamar to practice their culture. And what happens if they don't, what happens if they don't? Nothing. Anyway, Lamar says that, we find out that whenever Christina is having family outings, Lamar is really standoffish at all of the parties. He said, but they take it personal. And he said he don't mean anything by it. And so I was kind of like, well, how are they supposed to feel? But at the same time, there are some deep-rooted issues that keep Lamar kind of standoffish. So, and then we're going to get into that too. So Lamar said he grew up, both of his parents was poor. I mean, he meant like dirt poor. He said both his parents were drug users. He also had to experience CPS, threatened to take him and his siblings from his mom because she would be gone days at a time. He did say that as a kid, he was scared. And so we also found out that his mom recently passed away some years ago. So Tracy tells Lamar that she was a foster kid herself, which I did not know that. And she says she doesn't celebrate anything. She said because, I'm sorry, y'all. Okay, sorry. She says she doesn't celebrate anything because it brings up a lot of grief around all of the celebration that never happened for her. And she tells him healing is here if that's what he wants. And so I'm assuming that Lamar has the same experience as Tiffany. So that was like kind of sad. Like when I watched the whole thing, y'all, Lamar actually seemed like a good dude who's just trying to please everybody. He seems some sort of a people pleaser, but he also has a level head. And he's very mild-mannered, but he's also level-headed, but still has like trauma. So anyway, we find out from Lamar's side of the family, his Aunt Jean, his Aunt Elaine, his brother Shamar is coming. Christina said her mom, her dad, and her best friend is coming. Y'all, I added their names. Her mom's name is Alaba. It's hard for me to pronounce the names. Her dad's name is Femi, and her best friend's name is Ajovi. And so they're coming from her side. So Christina says her issue is that she has trust issues with his Aunt Elaine. And we're also going to break that down as well. His mom, before his mom passed some time ago, when Miss Elaine was staying with them to help them with their daughter, I don't know if Elaine said this to Lamar's mom, but Lamar's mom called Christina and told Christina that Miss Elaine didn't like her. And ever since then, she, the living situation with them, they had to tell Elaine to leave because she said she wanted to protect her peace. Anyway, so we get to the concerns. Miss Mama Alibi, I guess, her concerns is the cultural difference, because he's Christian and they're Muslim. Her dad wants to talk to him about their religion. He wants him to learn more about it. Her best friend wants them to resolve issues between both Lamar and Christina, because she said they both have issues. Not with them, but with each of the family members. So she want him to resolve his issues with her family, and she want her to resolve her issues with his family. Miss Elaine didn't like that Christina called her a caregiver instead of, acknowledging her as who she is, which is Lamar's auntie. Miss Jean wanted them to be able to input their traditions and take pride in the African American tradition as well, not just the Muslim tradition. And his brother Shamar, which is his older brother, wants them to work on their communication together. So for me, the notes that I wrote, I was like, so because he won't learn the Muslim culture, then the mom was like, they're not ready. That doesn't make them not ready. That just means that these two people are sound to make their own decision on which religion they want to try. Elaine says Christina was telling people that Anaya was her caregiver and not Lamar's aunt. And I was like, girl, if you said that was really disrespectful, but whatever. And Elaine says she's never going to get along with Christina. So as long as Christina, I guess, don't own up to the things that she says, like Miss Lane is like, I can't really check for her. So y'all, we get to the task, and it's called Burning Questions in a 5-Year Plan. Lamar wants to learn about their culture before he gets married. He said because he's not, did I say he's not comfortable with I don't know, but he wants to go ahead and learn their culture before he actually gets married. And so apparently we find out that Christina, she had a family party where she offended Lamar and called him some unruly names, and basically they tell Lamar, like, don't engage with her even if she's wrong. They basically want him to take a breath, then come back when cooler heads prevail. They didn't say that, but they said that. And so we get over to Christina, and she said when she was in church, because they asked her about religion, and so she said when her and her sister was in church, she said that her sister was serving like religiously, and the moment her sister got pregnant out of wedlock, the church shunned her, and they are Muslim, okay? And so she said when the time came and she actually got pregnant, she was embarrassed, but she said she still have a relationship with God. And Aunt Jean, I want to say, was the one who was like, as long as you have a relationship with God, really that's all that matters. Like, being in one or another I don't know. I just feel like you do what makes you happy. I feel like as long as you're serving God, it's just whatever makes you happy. I stopped being that type of person a long time ago. So we also find out that Lamar's mom allowed them to choose their own religion and their own beliefs. Christina's dad says there is no two-way about it. He said it's either Christianity or Muslim. And I'm sorry, I have food in my teeth. Sorry, y'all. But Lamar stood his ground. And I was here for Lamar when he said he's neither nor, He, neither nor his wife, said that his beliefs should not be. Oh, I'm sorry. Lamar said he's neither nor. So he's not Christianity, in the Christianity sector, nor is he in the Muslim sector. But he also says that his beliefs should not be pushed upon his daughter and his wife. He said that he will allow his daughter to experience whichever one she wants. He's going to give her free will. And I think that's what should happen. We all should be open and look to see what is out there, because you never know what's interesting. It doesn't make you a bad person. It just seems like people make you feel bad for just kind of looking into it, or being interested, and just not being one dimensional when it comes to religion. And I just don't like that. I feel like my job here on this earth is to love. God is love, and he wants us to love people. And we're just supposed to be there and pray, and do all of the things, unless somebody is hurting us or harming us, and we're not, a person being in our lives, it's not conducive to me or them. We're not growing, and no, that's a different story. You love them from a distance, just love people from a distance. But at the same time, for me, and I think I said this in another video, I feel like for me, God has us here to just extend love and do all of the things, but also while we're here on this earth, be able to utilize our wisdom, our wisdom. Y'all, I forgot, and I say it all the time. He wants us to be wise in this world. He wants us to make good decisions. Okay, once I get my thoughts together, I'll let y'all know. But at this moment, I know I'm here to love. I know I'm here to be wise in all of the good things. Okay. Anyway, I wish I could scrap that. Anyway, so y'all, Lamar's family asked Christina about the dowry, and she said that it's a sum of money sent to a family, but we get over to Lamar, and they explain the dowry to him. Well, they tell him if it's fish you're offering, it's going to have to be a lot of fish. If it's whatever it is that you're offering to the family, it has to be a big amount. And if it's money, the least of it has to be $10,000. And so, and it has to be sent to her family. So they have to have this money to take care. I don't know if it's for them to hold it for her. I don't know. It was so odd, but it's something I heard of. But I thought that people did a lot of people did away with it. Like, you hear that type of stuff on on certain TV shows, like the TV shows that's in the 1800s, and blah blah blah. Anyway, Lamar then says to his family, like, that's a lot to ask. That's a lot to ask. He said, because it takes away from his home. He said, it actually sounds backwards. He also explains to them, like, listen, you're asking me of this, but at the same time, you want me to, I have to provide a home for my family. I have to make sure my family eat. I have to make sure my family lives. I have to make sure all the bills are paid. And at the same time, I'm expected to send this. I was like, oh, wow. So we get back over to Christina. And she read the comment. She read the card about the caregiver comment. Elaine tells her that I don't like. Elaine says, it's not that I don't like you. She said, it's how you introduce me to your friends. So Christina then says, this is how I knew Christina said that. She then tells her the reason why she lived with them, because it wasn't as Lamar's aunt, but because we needed you there to care for Anaya, which is their little girl's name. Elaine then come back and said the reason she's Lamar's aunt, and they needed her. Y'all needed me to help. So if let me re-explain that again because I couldn't even. Elaine says I helped because I am Lamar's aunt, and you guys needed me to help out with your baby. So Aunt Jean then kind of comes in and she says to Christina, there's a cultural difference in with African American women. When our family, and we are family. Like, you know how we all black people, we come to each other's aid. We family, so we kind of help out. And so, Aunt Jean says we are family, and when Lamar called, they came because they often help to take care of their nieces and nephews. They are not considered as caregivers. Like, that's disrespectful. That's disrespectful. We are aunts and uncles, and we come in where we are needed because we are a family, and we're here to help each other out. We are each other's support system, not caregiver. Christina says she never said that. Elaine cries, and so she says that Christina has a temper and Christina has tantrums. So in the next scene at the dinner table, apparently they started to talk about the dowry and all of that. So in his confessional, I want to say Lamar said he decided to pay the dowry just so he can make everybody happy. That we cannot keep doing that. I'm sorry, y'all. Like, I'm not. Anyway, Christina talks about her and Elaine. And Christina, best friend, she asked her best friend at the moment, when I introduced you to Miss Elaine, what did I call her? And her best friend says, well, you introduced me to her as Lamar's aunt. But then Lamar chimed in and said, well, I have heard you several times refer to my Aunt Elaine as a caregiver. And Christina mom pipes up and says, she didn't say that because I know my daughter. Well, ma'am, you wasn't there, so you cannot say that. And I believe them. I believe she said that. I don't know why, but that is very disrespectful. Being a black woman, coming from generations of black women over time who had to take care, who had to be a caregiver for white people and their kids. That is disrespectful, especially if we're family. You don't get to reduce me to what you want to reduce me to. I hope y'all, I'm not being disrespectful in this, and I want to say I am trying not to be disrespectful, but you cannot do that. You cannot reduce this lady. There is already this stigma, and again, if there is already this stigma between black people and African people, and for me, I don't like it, but there is a stigma. There is this air. There is an air, and it's like, you know, they look to us black American people a certain way, and that's not okay. That's not okay. So yeah. So to all my Nigerian people who may follow me, and everybody's not like that, this is not an everybody thing, I would like to apologize. Like, I'm not trying to be that person, y'all. I'm really not. I'm just saying what really happens. They truly do look at us like we are lesser than them. I wish that it would not. Even the one thing I do say is, even when I hear black people say that Nigerian people are, especially women, are aggressive, I don't like that, because I don't like to be labeled as a black aggressive woman, especially when I'm explaining my concerns. It makes me feel like I don't have the room to express my true feelings. I'm not I'm always being invalidated. Well, there are times where I've heard it a lot where they call them aggressive. For me, I feel like they've learned to be assertive. They've learned to take pride in, you know, in their culture. They learn to take pride in their education. They've learned to take pride in their jobs that they get, and they get a lot of high paying jobs. We wasn't taught that. Black America was taught to suppress who we were. And I know I don't have to give y'all a history lesson, but that's just what has happened. I hope I have not offended anybody in this review. I do my damnness not to. And I want to say this: my first Family of Fiance review, I offended a family. The lady came on. She told me like I was offensive. I apologize, and I've never been offensive in any of my reviews of this caliber anymore. And I just don't want to be offensive. I just wanted to say that. Anyway, y'all, Christina says that Lamar's energy is defensive, and he was like, so you want me to be fake? And so as he was trying to talk, because she was like, well, we need to do this and this and this and that, and she just wasn't listening. She was just trying to get her point across instead of wrapping it up in a bow. And so he was like, well, can I speak? And then she was like, well, if we're going to do this, you're going to have to do this. And he was like, well, we're not going to be able to beat this. She got mad and she walked off. So Lamar then says he's doing a lot of things he don't want to do. And I don't like that, because he's now showing up as a people pleaser. Again, he's showing up as a people pleaser. She said this was while they were talking to Tracy. And so we finally get to the root of Christina. And Christina says because of her dad, she talks to people a certain way. And you cannot do that. You just absolutely cannot do that. So Christina did admit to herself, which I was happy to hear, that she admitted to herself, to Lamar, to Tracy, that she was wrong. Christina goes to talk to Elaine, because Tracy was like, hey, you need to talk to Elaine. Tell Lamar that, hey, you need to talk to your family, and we'll have you guys meet with Dr. Alley. And so Christina says when she heard Elaine didn't like her, immediately she wanted Miss Elaine to hurt. And she apologized, which meant, you said it. And so she apologized for it. They squashed it, and I think all Miss Elaine wanted was an apology. She just wanted acknowledgement that you said it. She wanted you to acknowledge that you said it, and she wanted an apology because she was deserved that. Like, you do not do that. You don't get to, belittle this lady because his mom said that she didn't like you. And that was another thing. Nobody really delved into that story as to, did she really say it? What happened with Miss Elaine? Anyway, so Lamar meets with Dr. Alley, and his family. He said it makes him feel away when someone tell him that he is less than. And so Christina actually, before they went to, everybody dispersed, she went to talk to Miss Elaine, and he went and talked to Dr. Alley. She said that her dad would tell her, no matter, after she would do a lot of things, he would tell her basically that whatever she did, it wasn't good enough. So that's how Christina started to show up. So the way her dad treated her in her relationship, as if everything she did wasn't good enough. Yeah, you did that, but you need to do more. She became that person in her relationship. Anyway, so Lamar says it makes him feel away when someone tells him he's less than. he would go to a park. He said that it would be times where he would actually go to sleep. He was supposed to be going to school, but he would just go to the park and cry all day long. And he said he strives so hard to be perfect. And you could tell that this was a shift in Lamar, because he needed that session with Dr. Ellie to kind of spark something in him to resume therapy outside of this show. So Dr. Ellie reassures him, and she also lets him know that you do have to find you a therapist. He said that his heart is full and that his head is clear. And y'all, I really like that for Lamar. I thought that he was very level-headed. It was just the way, I will say this. When I saw the preview, I was like, ugh. But then when I watched it, I was like, okay. You know, he's not a bad dude. He's really not a bad dude. He just had trauma. And in the trauma, he had to people please. And he just wanted to make, and while you're people pleasing, you're trying to make everybody happy. You're putting everybody before your needs and your happiness. But at the same time, he still protected his family. Anyway, in the final session, Christine tells Tracy that she can now trust Elaine a lot more. And Lamar actually feels like a weight has been lifted off of him. And so we get to the blessing ceremony where everybody gave their blessing. And then in the conclusion, we find out Lamar is spending more time, quality time with Christina's family. And he has grown closer with her parents. And I like that for them. I really, really love that for them. He said, we find out that there is no longer any resentment between Christina and Aunt Elaine, which was really good. And Lamar is now sending gifts and money to Christina's family for a dowry. And they are planning their destination wedding for the fall, which was in 2023. So they should be about almost 3 years in. Anyway, it was actually a good episode, y'all. Yeah, it was a lot. It wasn't as heavy as I thought it would be. But all they needed was a little adjusting. And as far as the families like pushing their religion, I just didn't like that part. And you allow people to decide. All you have to do is be there for them. But I also heard in a Muslim religion that if you're not Muslim, they will disassociate themselves with their family. So that's unfortunate, but it looks like they haven't here. So with that being said, y'all, I will come to y'all with the next video. I have 3 more videos to drop, so y'all just look for the next 3. Bye.